Welcome back. City Power has increased residential prepaid tariffs by almost 15%. This is in line with guidelines by the National Energy Regulator of South Africa. It means customers consuming 350 kilowatt hours a month will pay 75 rand 61 cents more. City Power's manager for pricing and tariff structures, Frank Hinda, joins us now. Mr. Hinda, thank you so much for your time. I want us to be as practical as possible. This 14.59%, how is it going to affect us as consumers?
Good afternoon to you, Clement, and good afternoon to the listeners. Yes, as you indicated in the introduction, the price would then be increasing by 14.59%. So that's the impact on the customers.
Yeah. So I want us to be practical, right? Let's use an example that you indicate in the statement. So if someone was consuming about 500 kilowatt per hour electricity and was being charged about 773 rand, how much are they then going to pay from July? What's going to be the increase?
Okay, the person that was from July, that person will be paying 112 rand more for the same 500 kilowatt hours. That's okay. Before VAT.
So how should people be buying electricity? Must they buy electricity that will last them until the end of the month? What tips do you have for consumers in order to somehow maximize and somehow not allow this increase to have a big impact on their pockets?
Okay, now that depends on the customer's usage. Now we have got inclining block tariffs whereby we have got 3 different blocks that have been charged at different rates. So if you as a customer use less than 350 kilowatt hours a month, then you should only buy 350 kilowatt hours and not buy 500, because then you will be buying the extra. The first block ends at 350. So the extra 150 kilowatt hours you will be buying at a higher rate. And if you use normally less than 350 kilowatt hours in a month, then that would roll over to the next month, but it would then be at a higher rate. So ideally, you should only buy for as much as you think you will be using in a given month.
Yeah.
And if you run out of electricity after you have bought 500 kilowatt hours, for example, if you run out of electricity on the 25th of the month, then you should then only buy enough electricity to last you until the end of the month and not go and buy 500 kilowatt hours again. And this is because after the first 500 kilowatt hours, you would then be buying at a higher price. But because you would not use, even if you buy 500 kilowatt hours, you will not use all of them in that given month. You would then roll over. But you would then roll over at a higher price. So ideally, you should only buy as much as you think you should use. When you run out, again, estimate how many kilowatt hours you would need and only buy so much.
Yeah. Is that purely based on estimation? How else can consumers start figuring out how much they actually use per month so that they start planning properly and they buy electricity that lasts them up to a month?
For example, what you do is, say in this month you bought 500 kilowatt hours, and say you didn't finish them, and after 30 days you see maybe there is 100 left. Then you know on average you are using 9 kilowatt hours a day. And if you run out of on the 25th, then it will be say 9 or 10 times 5 days. So look to buy 50 kilowatt hours. That's the kind of, so you then need to follow your consumption daily patterns, so that you are able to work out what average you use on a given day in a month. Obviously, you will be estimating you do not necessarily use the same you have used on a Tuesday the month before, but on average, on a Tuesday you would use 10 kilowatt hours, and on a Sunday maybe a bit more, and so on. So you could then have an understanding of what is your average daily usage. And that would help you figure out how much to buy at a given time.
Yeah, Frank Hinda, thank you so much for chatting to us, and thanks for those tips as well. That's City Power's manager for pricing and tariff structures. City Power increasing the residential prepaid tariffs by 14.59%.